Over $300 trillion circulate today through the global financial system. This number is so large that it surpasses human capacity to imagine. But there is a rarely mentioned detail. Most of this money does not physically exist. It is not in vaults, it is not in banknotes, it is not in gold. It exists as a promise. The modern world is sustained by promises. Promises of payment, promises of growth, promises that the future will honor decisions made in the present. And it is precisely here that the most dangerous question of the global economy arises. Who controls these promises? Because whoever controls the promise controls the future. Governments say they govern. Banks say they intermediate. Markets say they react. But real power is rarely where people look. It hides in invisible rules, in silent contracts, and in systems that almost no one fully understands. Nothing is as simple as it seems. It never has been. Here, where history, power, and economics meet, the invisible truths begin to emerge. Today, virtually every country in the world is indebted. The United States has accumulated more than $34 trillion in public debt. Japan has operated for decades with a debt exceeding 250% of its own GDP. In Europe, several nations survive by refinancing old debts with new debts. And yet, the system continues to function. This is the great paradox of our time. A world where everyone owes money, no one pays in full, and nothing collapses immediately. The reason lies not in real wealth, but in interconnectedness. Every debt is someone's asset. Every crisis is someone else's potential profit. No economy is isolated. Everything is connected. To understand how we got here, we need to go back in time. For centuries, wars and empires were limited by the available gold. When the money ran out, the war ended. The limit was physical. This changed radically at the end of the 17th century. In 1694, the Bank of England was founded. For the first time, a state began financing wars through organized debt. The government issued bonds. Investors bought them. The future began to foot the bill. War ceased to be limited by the present and began to be pushed into tomorrow. This model spread throughout the world. Central banks emerged. Money ceased to be metal and became credit, and credit has no physical limit. It grows as long as confidence exists. Empires began to rise not because of the wealth they possessed, but because of their ability to convince others to finance their ambitions. Power ceased to be merely military, it became financial. Rome had already shown this path when it began to reduce the amount of silver in its coins to finance increasingly expensive campaigns. At first, almost no one noticed. The coins looked the same. But prices rose, confidence fell. The empire rotted from within before being invaded from without. Centuries later, the Spanish Empire, flooded with gold from the Americas, spent more than it produced. It depended on foreign banks. It went bankrupt repeatedly. Wealth was an illusion. In the 20th century, the British Empire won wars but emerged financially exhausted. The pound lost its global status. Power shifted hands without a direct invasion. The definitive turning point occurred in 1971 when the United States abandoned the gold standard. The dollar ceased to be backed by anything physical. From that moment on, money was sustained almost exclusively by trust and geopolitical strength. This changed everything. Today, money is born primarily as credit. Central banks create money out of thin air. Commercial banks multiply this value. Governments spend before they collect. Growth depends on the constant expansion of debt. The system doesn't work despite this. It works because of it. It's not a mistake. It's the design. In this invisible machine, few actors have real power. Central banks set interest rates that affect billions of people. Rating agencies classify countries as if they were companies. Financial funds move volumes larger than national economies. A simple downgrade, an interest rate hike, or a capital flight can push an entire nation to collapse. Greece lost its economic sovereignty in 2010. Argentina has repeatedly entered crises. In 2008, millions lost their jobs while banks were bailed out. The impact is never abstract. It is human, concrete, and devastating. And then the uncomfortable truth emerges. The system was never designed to be paid for. It was designed to keep spinning. Debt is the fuel. Control is the goal. Everything rests on trust, not physical money, not gold. When trust breaks, banks close, markets freeze, and governments crumble. Money flows upwards, risks stay below, gains are privatized, losses are socialized.